to the channel. As you've already seen by the title, it's quite obvious what this is going to be about. But before I get into that, I just want to give you guys a few disclaimers and just state a few things that you should know before I explain the story. So first off, this is not a ploy for attention or empathy. I'm not trying to make anyone feel sorry for me, and I'm not trying to spark hatred or fuel hatred for who this is about. This is purely just me telling you the story of my heartbreak and how it affected my life. This video has been an idea for quite some time now. I really wanted to wait until enough time had passed where I could talk about everything without emotion taking over, because this was a very there's a lot of intense emotions involved in this entire situation, so I just wanted to wait until I'd healed enough to be able to comfortably speak on it. Anyways, this is my experience with heartbreak. Let's go back last year, January 17th. That was the official day that me and my now ex-girlfriend started dating. And things were great back then. It was I was going through some tough times before we had started dating. She was going through tough times, and we really just came together, and we could kind of relate in that sense, and that helped us really connect more in those early days, because we just brought each other out of that negativity and we could both escape into happiness together. So yeah, things were looking great. We were going stronger, growing stronger and stronger with each other every day. Typical relationship stuff, and I'm not going to explain every single thing. This video would be way too long. So skipping forward now, about February the next year, which is this year, that's when things started to kind of go. I mean, we'd had our ups and downs before that, but it was just typical relationship drama, like nothing really too serious. But I'd say around February, things just started to change between us. We started having strong opposite opinions, and we couldn't really connect anymore. I felt as though I was starting to grow distant from her. We were just always clashing all the time, and neither one of us, we were both too stubborn to back down or admit where we were wrong or try to come to a compromise, and that just led us down a dark spiral, and things just started to get worse and worse over the months. And as time went on, we were only really having maybe a few days of peace, and then it was just surrounded by negativity. I still cared about her. At the end of every day, I still strongly cared about her. I don't know, maybe I had too much pride, and I couldn't admit to where I was wrong, or I could never back down on things. And I feel like maybe she was similar in that sense. There were things that she was completely right about that I know now I should have admitted to, and there was things that I was completely right about that she should have admitted to, and we both never came to that conclusion. We couldn't ever do anything like that. I wasn't really good at confronting my problems, and so whenever we would argue, I would just distance myself from her emotionally and physically, and that's not really good, and that's like one of the worst things you can do, is have zero communication. You're not going to get anywhere, and it's only going to make things worse. So anyways, the months were getting worse and worse, and it didn't really seem like anything was getting better. And I did have thoughts of maybe things aren't working out and we should just break up now. I just really wanted to stick it out. I wanted to, I knew that the months were bad, but I was just kind of looking. I felt like I was just in a dark tunnel, and I was just waiting to see the light. One night came along where we had a very intense, heated argument that led us to not speaking to one another for almost a week. That was kind of the final big argument we had. And then on the very last night of the night that we were ignoring each other, I just, something clicked in my mind. I thought, if this is the girl that I want to spend the rest of my life with, I should be willing to let whatever negativity or whatever toxicity that is involved with my own personality, I should be able to let that go for her sake, out of, love, because I want to be with her. So the way that I was being was not how I should have been. That's not how I should have treated someone who I loved. So I just, that kind of resonated in my mind that night, and I thought, I'm gonna go into the room. She was asleep at this time. It was late at night. I had just been staying up thinking about the whole situation, and then I went into the room to wake her up and, apologize to her and really try my best to become a better version of myself for her and for me as well, because I knew that the way I was being is just not good for me or her. So anyways, I went into the room and she was asleep on the bed, and I noticed that her phone was next to her, unlocked. So originally I was just gonna lock it and put it to the side and wake her up and try and talk about things, but I glanced at the phone and I saw who she was messaging, and this was a person that we had both known, that she had found out this person had a big crush on her. He was apparently he was infatuated with her. He was extremely in love, and I never really worried about it because I just had I believed my ex to be a genuine spirit, and I just had faith. I was like, well, if he tries anything, she's gonna say no. I had that kind of faith, and I never really worried about it until then. And even when I saw who she was messaging, I knew it was him, but I didn't jump to that conclusion. I thought, oh, maybe she's just venting to him, and so I checked the phone to see what she was saying, and then obviously, that wasn't the case. What I saw on that phone is it's still hard for me to talk about because it just broke me. It seriously just destroyed me inside when I saw the things that they were saying between each other. And I really try to block that out. I know that's not the best way to go about that situation. It's really not good to sweep your emotions under the rug, but it's still, for me, too soon to deal with that situation, that specific moment. So I need to just wait until more time has passed before I can properly deal with that. But for you guys and for this video, I just want to go through everything as best as I can. I went on her phone, I saw the messages. I only read so much because at that point I couldn't handle seeing anymore. And I just remember walking into the lounge and breaking down on the couch, and I was there for quite some time, just coming to the realization that this was actually happening, that this was taking place. I couldn't fathom it. It felt as though it wasn't real, like I was in a movie or something, or it was just a bad nightmare. I finally mustered up the strength to come into the room and wake her up. What the hell is going on? How could you do this? Or all that kind of stuff. I remember I woke her up. We went out to the lounge to talk. The whole time I was breaking down in front of her, and I was asking her why and how could she do this. I knew we were having bad times, but I never thought that she would have been the kind of person to seek what was lacking in our relationship elsewhere. And the whole time that I was breaking down in front of her, I just remember her sitting there with a blank face looking at the ground. She showed no remorse. And I kept a few things from her that I had read just to see if she would admit to them. And she never did. She only admitted to it when I brought it up at a later time and said, well, I saw you talking about this. And then she admitted to it. And there was more things that I read that I still never admitted to her this day, because I really just wanted to give her the chance to say it to me first. I just felt like I wanted her to have that opportunity. She never did. There was still things that I saw that I don't even want to remember. I wish it was out of my mind, but I knew I still wanted to be with her, and so we didn't end up breaking up. We decided to just try our best to stick it out a little bit more. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I still cared about her so much that I thought that maybe this was a wake-up call for her, and she had just she had realized her mistake, and she was ready to right that wrong. And we were going to be a stronger couple for it. We knew what wasn't working. We knew where it was leading us. So we would do everything in our power out of love to not go down those same roads again. That's what I wanted for both of us. So we ended up sticking it out, but that was just the start of a very toxic relationship. She started just showing me more and more red flags, and I was letting my own love for her blind me from it. She was becoming extremely distant. She was gone from the house for long periods of time, and she is a busy person, so majority of those hours were legitimate. She was actually doing something, but she would come home a lot later at night, and so there was that. She had changed the password on her phone. She had deleted the entire conversation between her and the other guy. That's obviously showing that, she was hiding. Either she was embarrassed and she didn't want me to see more of what they had talked about, or she was, hiding something. like I was trying my best to be the best person for her, but I felt like her heart just was no longer in it. And so it just got worse and worse, and I was just being eaten up inside. My love for her was becoming toxic. We would never bond anymore. When she'd come home, she would just go straight to sleep late at night, and there were times where she was home during the day and all she'd want to do is sleep, or she wouldn't really want to talk to me. And she'd tell me the reason for it was because she'd felt such tremendous guilt that it was hard for her to be close with me. At that time I thought, okay, maybe that's true. Maybe she just needs more time. And that guilt will eventually lead her to wanting to redeem herself. She'll come around if I just give her time. That's what I thought that was the solution to that problem. And, it never was. It never made her want to right her wrongs. I had gone out of my way to do what I could to prove that I was genuinely sorry for all the things that I did wrong to her. I was never unfaithful or anything. I was just a bad boyfriend. I wasn't the best boyfriend I could have been. It never even came into my mind that I would start searching elsewhere for another woman, for that matter. I'm not that kind of person. All these red flags that she was showing me, I'm not going to say every single one, but she was showing me enough that I was purely working on faith. I wanted to see the best in her, and I wanted to believe that she was still genuine. But, as time went on, she just showed me that her heart wasn't in the relationship anymore. That was just something that I had to deal with. I had to admit to myself that was the case. And, the unfortunate reality of this whole thing is that we have a son together, so I couldn't just push her out of my life. She has to be a part of it, and I have to be a part of hers. So after a few really bad months, I finally admitted to myself that she just didn't love me anymore. And that's not to say that she didn't care about me. I still believe that she cared about me, and there were times where she seemed genuinely sorry for the things that she did. I just guess that wasn't enough. Like, she did feel sorry, but it wasn't enough for her to try and fix things. Like, that ship had sailed. She felt sorry, but she wanted to move on. She came to that conclusion earlier on. I just couldn't do it. And when I finally did come to that conclusion, I stopped letting my love for her drag me down, because at that point I was just existing and I wasn't living. Yeah, I finally came to the conclusion, and I can't remember what month. I think it was in May this year. Around that time, I came to the decision that things weren't working out, and it was me trying to hold on to what little connection we had left was only destroying me. I really couldn't become a better person, and so I just felt as though it was over, it was done. We had to let each other go completely. I had to let her go. We ended up breaking up. I still was very attached to her, and even now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not completely over her. She doesn't rule my life anymore, but I still feel anger, and I still feel jealousy and a burning sensation in my heart whenever I think about that night when I found her phone, and just so many things too. And since then, I don't believe anything she says to me anymore, and that's just kind of how I am now. She kind of made me like that, from never ever wanting to prove that she was being honest. There was so many things that she could have done that would have shown me that she was being genuine, but she just refrained from it. So that kind of put it in my mind that she was no longer true. I don't know if she just, because she felt too guilty to admit to it, or she had just lost respect for me, or she just didn't care anymore. I still carry that now. I still try to, because I want to. It's easier to hate people. The hardest thing is to forgive them, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all do things that we regret. And if you carry that in your mind, it makes it easier to forgive people. So I really try to carry that with me every day, but it is hard. There are days when my emotion takes over, not as much as it used to, but it still happens nowadays. We decided to remain friends for the sake of our son, and I don't want him to grow up having to choose a parent. If we know we're not meant to be together, the least we can do is still try our best to be good role models for our son. I still care about her, and now I just I want the best for her. If us being together it's not meant to be, then it's not meant to be. I just have to accept that. But I really want to get into how it affected me mentally. That's kind of the main reason why I wanted to make this video. The way that this affected me, I became severely insecure. During that whole period, we were still trying to see if we could fix things. I was just in my head 24/7, and I couldn't help it. This was my first ever time going through something like this, so I didn't know how to deal with the situation. And it affected me physically too. I felt weak, tired all the time. I had no energy to do anything. I just wanted to lie in bed all day. It made it 1,000 times harder to look after my son when I had to, because I just had no energy. And then thankfully through, family and friends, they helped get me through the worst times. And I will always be grateful for that, because, you can't go through these things on your own. You need to have people there to support you. And that's something that I realized. I thought that I was strong enough to deal with it on my own, and I really couldn't. I had to have other people there to help me, and they did. I had a lot of external substances. I became an alcoholic for a little while. I'm not going to lie. I was drinking a lot to drown the sorrow, and there were nights where I'd wake up with cold sweats, and I'd be having panic attacks. I'd have multiple nightmares about the whole situation, and they were very vivid dreams. It's weird how something like this can affect you so tremendously. It shows how powerful love can be. If you really care about someone, love can be light or dark. It's both. It just depends, really. And I got both of those worlds. I got the best and the worst. Yeah, I'm no longer in those bad places anymore, and I finally learned how to self-reflect and deal with my emotions. And from doing that, it made me a better and stronger person. And the way that I look at this whole situation now is I never know if she was just the one that prepared me for the next woman to come along in my life. I will be ready, and I will be the best version of myself. I know that the way I was with my ex didn't work, and I've learned from those mistakes, and I want to carry that with me into the future. And if my next relationship doesn't work out, I know that I gave my all, so I won't ever worry about wondering whether or not I could have done more. Anyone who has ever gone through a similar situation, I just want you to know that I know how it feels, and if anyone watching this has gone through, or if you're still going through this situation, you need to just keep in mind that things will get better. You just have to keep moving forward. Coming from someone who's witnessed firsthand and knows what it feels like, I know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not all darkness. For those who have yet to, and I pray that you don't go through this, but there's a good chance, everyone has a heartbreak once, or, hopefully only once, hopefully never. Some people are lucky, and I envy those people that never have to go through this kind of thing. But these situations either make or break you, and, it broke me to the core so that I could build a new and better version of myself from the foundation up. I am happier now. When I finally realized that holding on to that relationship was just dragging me down, I had to take the time to focus on myself, and I've done that, and it's made me a better person. So if you're going through this, I know what it feels like, and I just want you to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if you've yet to go through this, or if you're still young, take my experience and keep in mind that if you care about someone, try to be the best version of yourself for them. Realize that if all someone is bringing you in a relationship is pain and sorrow, you have to let them go. If you know you're giving 100% and it appears as though they're not bringing anything to the table, you have to let that person go, because it's just going to eat you up inside. And that's what I did. That's what I ended up doing. I feel as though I've covered everything, mostly everything. There's still a bunch more that I want to talk about. Maybe I'll do a second update. And I hope this video has helped anyone, or maybe I've preached hopefully I've preached some wisdom to you guys, and might make you a better person. You may have taken something positive from it, and me myself too. I feel as though making this video has helped me just lay everything on the table. This is something that I can come back to and watch myself and say, yeah, I want to stick to what I've learned. Listen to all the things that I've spoken about in this video, and keep them in mind and keep learning from them. And if I ever forget, or I lose my way a little, I can come back and watch this video, and that'll help me. And that was another reason why I wanted to make this, just in case that I'd be happy if it helps other people, and I feel like it would help me as well. So that's really all I have to say, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. This is something that I really wanted to get off my chest, and I feel as though it's like a ton of bricks have come off my shoulder from making it. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. I guess I'll see you in the next one.